Hello there, everyone, and welcome to GamePoints episode 268. Your weekly little get-together. We talk about recent gaming news. I'm, as always, your host, Stephen Brand, and joining me today is...
David.
Tonight, David. Nintendo just dropped their big E3 Direct with more than a few surprises in there. And we also go over our favorite moments of this year's E3. The things that we found interesting, as well as a few criticisms I'm sure that we'll get into as the time goes on. But first, I want everyone here to know that this is an audience interactive podcast. So if you're watching us here live or later over at YouTube, feel free to join in the conversation with any questions, comments, concerns, etc. you might have. Just try to keep them germane to the conversation. David,
Yes.
it has been one really busy week of announcements while simultaneously being one of the lightest E3s I have ever seen.
Yes. But we kind of all expected this, right?
Yeah.
Like last year didn't count, so no one really did anything.
Yeah, so
But
that's very
weird
true.
because we had a digital E3 last year where I feel like a lot of stuff was shown, but not a ton of new projects were
And
started.
it was very much spread out over the course of like 6 weeks or something like that. So it was very, very odd for.
It was strange because it didn't feel as overwhelming as I anticipated because when we had everything spread out over 6 weeks, I had like game news fatigue.
Mhm.
And now I feel like I didn't get enough.
Yeah, it wasn't filling. And I will say this: I think a lot of that is because while we had a lot of conferences, very little was said at a lot of those conferences. So, for example, tonight we're not going to be going over Koch Media, which had a 2 hour conference that was only 15 minutes of games. Most of it was just people talking at a camera. We're not going to be going over Capcom or Bandai Namco because they really didn't talk about all that much. Yes,
Mhm.
Capcom had a few things, but Bandai Namco's 30-minute or 45-minute presentation was literally just House of Ashes.
Yep.
So it felt like the ESA was begging people, please, please show up and give us something this year. And everyone went, and some people went, okay, well, this is what we have. So they were kind of making mountains out of mole hills. Before we move on to what was actually shown, do you think this is the last E3?
Um, I think that E3 is not long for this world. I don't know if
Okay.
this is the last one.
Okay.
I could see them trying to pull off another one, and then it'll be like their make or break because I don't know that anyone expected a lot from this.
Right.
So I feel like
I think they get a buy
this
on
was a light
this.
show. I think this is enough for this year.
Okay, yeah, I think that most people are kind of in your boat where they look at this as, hey, this is the first time that something's like this has happened after the pandemic. They tried going all digital. They actually tried to put something together. I think a lot of people are going to give the ESA a buy for this one, but
Mhm.
next year is very much a make or break. Hey there, Timbo, how you doing? This is similar to the Pokemon Direct where they announced Pokemon Centers and Pokemon Sleep. I Pokemon Sleep. Oh!
You
I know what
remember
you're
that?
talking about. Yeah, I do
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
that. Sorry, that threw me off. Sorry. I was like, what are you talking about? Because I don't keep up with Pokemon. But yes, now I do know what you're talking about. However,
Yeah.
there was some good stuff. And rather than focus on the negative, and don't worry, we will have some criticism when the show goes on, I want this podcast for the next hour or so, give or take, to be more focused on the things that we saw that we enjoyed.
Okay.
And I'm going to start that off with Nintendo, and specifically something they did that pissed me off.
Classic. Hey, Soul Club.
And it's not even in the Nintendo Direct that happened earlier this morning. We're recording on the 15th, which so it's been about 6 to 12 hours since that Direct came out. I want to talk about not what was Direct, but the messaging that Nintendo gave about the Direct, specifically how they would not let people co-stream it.
Yeah. What the hell is that? Like once again, proving that they are just completely out of the loop.
Right. This is via Silicon Era, by the way, and all links will be provided down in the description below or over at the Discord channel if you want to take a look at for yourself. Nintendo has asked viewers not to co-stream the E3 2021 Nintendo Direct. However, they can stream live reactions. In other words, they could just put the camera on their face and not have any like footage shown in the background because Nintendo has no idea what year it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Furthermore,
That's what you want.
those live streams cannot include any audio either from the Direct. So it's literally just dead silence of someone kind of occasionally laughing or
Oh.
shocked or being upset.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Now, they did say after the Direct ended, they could put the video and stuff in there. So Nintendo was clearly trying to funnel people to either one of their few partners they had that can actually co-stream the Direct or the Direct page itself. However, one of the few times I'll openly praise Twitch, in response to this, while Twitch had permission to co-stream, they chose not to. Because they're like,
Yeah.
we don't support this crap where you're going to tell who can and can't actually co-stream something. So Twitch, and they're good on them for just not allowing that to happen. So
I feel like
awesome.
you were about to say infinite wisdom, but then you could not
No,
physically
because
bring
Twitch
yourself
fucks
to
up
say
all the
that.
time. Hey, so
Exactly.
listen, we stream on Twitch. We're live on Twitch right now.
Ugh.
I appreciate Twitch existing, but they have made a lot of mistakes, so I can't do that. Timbo says, this is for copyright protection. No, Timbo. This is because Nintendo just did not want you co-streaming it because they let you show the video and stuff afterwards. But
It's because they
Nintendo's-
want any eyes on their official channel so that if
Yes.
there's any ads, they get all the monetization.
That could be part of it. That absolutely could be part of it. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. I can't say for certain what their reasoning is, but it was not for copyright protection. Although there were a couple moments when I was co-streaming some stuff when I had to run and slam that mute button real quick as I heard licensed music kicking in. Yeah, specifically during the Microsoft conference there, because they would play some licensed song and I was like, shit! And I'd have to mute it. What a clown world we live in with the DMCA and stuff. And this is going to be like this for years.
Yep.
I don't see an end to this in sight. But that's the negative bit I wanted to get out of it.
Just had to get over, had to throw it in there. You had
Right.
to have your barbs.
One chewy bit does not spoil the gumbo, though, and when it came specifically to the Nintendo Direct, I actually thought it was a good one. It wasn't a great one. It wasn't one of the best ones that we've seen, but it was pretty damn good. It was nice and tight. They didn't linger onto anything, and they gave us a few surprises, which is amazing in this time of leaks. So, what we're going to go over here for this and all the other conferences we're going to go over there tonight, David and those watching, is not going to be a comprehensive list. If you want a full accounting of everything that you saw at these conferences, you can go to any number of sites along. I just want to talk about things that I think might be worth talking about. And Timbo, that is going to be one of them. But first, when we start, let's start with the fact that Kazuya is in Smash. Now, I am not a fighting game person, so I'm going to leave this to you, David. What do you think about this?
Dude, this is so exciting. Okay. Smash Brothers is the greatest fighting game ever made that I do not want to play at all.
All right.
They added one of the main characters from Tekken. He's been in all of them except for the third one, I believe. I don't know, whichever one he got thrown into a volcano, because the whole thing of this reveal trailer
while mentioning
was
that,
amazing because it starts with Ganondorf getting hucked into a volcano from Kazuya Mishima. And that's just like a staple of that franchise.
Just huck someone into a volcano.
When the whole storyline of that game is that when Kazuya was a little kid, his dad Heihachi threw him in a volcano to make him tougher. And so, of course, when he got older and he was much tougher, he then proceeded to throw his dad in a volcano.
I appreciate the humor behind these Smash invitations, by the way. And I cracked up when he did it with Kirby.
Yeah. And the fact that they actually used the Tekken announcer to say that he got ready for the next battle.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Again, his fighting style looks perfect. He looks like he's got all the right stuff. And you can now play a better crossover fighting game in Smash than you can really anywhere else because it's got Street Fighter, it's got Tekken, it's got King of Fighters, it's got every damn thing.
No, so this seems to be a very well received addition, and it's not an anime sword character, so I for one am happy.
See, I like it also because it's a fighting game character, which means that it makes the Super Smash fanboys angry because they use.
I wonder how
actual,
much of his moveset's going to
inputs.
come over.
I just saw tweets about people being mad because he's got Hadouken inputs and stuff like that, and they don't like down to forwards in the Smash community.
Hey, get good.
Oh well, I'm not going to say that out loud.
No, I will. Get good. Moving on, This was brought up in chat just now. Mario Party Superstars. This is going to be a collection of many past Mario Party boards, and it's coming out this year. Important to note, most of what was shown during this Direct, by the way, is Nintendo plans for this year. So I give them credit for that. This is stuff that you'll be playing mostly. I'll put that in there. Mostly by the end of 2021. This, speaking of, will be out on October 29th. Now, I was never a Mario Party guy, but I understand that these are extremely popular games, and I'm glad to kind of see this greatest hits collection coming out.
Mario Party's super fun if you got a big group of people. Like, it's just they've always been solid. I don't think I've played a bad Mario Party game. I haven't played all of them, but the ones I played, I enjoyed.
They've always struck me as something like You Don't Know Jack, where if you get like 7 or 8 people together, you can always just bust it out and have fun with.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't know, Cards Against Humanity or something like that. It's a party game, and it should be treated as such.
100%.
Something that surprised the hell out of me. Now, I asked you a little bit about this earlier, and you had no idea what this was originally.
Surprised the hell out of everybody, I think.
Metroid Dread lives. Now, David, you said you didn't know what Metroid Dread was, correct?
I mean, I do now.
You do now. For those who might not know, Metroid Dread was a proposed Metroid game that was first being tossed around. This name first started to appear like in the late 2000s. I want to say around 2008, 2009.
Yeah, I definitely don't remember that. This is a brand new thing as far as I'm concerned.
No, this name has been brandied about for a long time. You had Metroid Other M come out, and then people were like, okay, this sucks. We didn't care too much for it. And they started talking about the rumors of this 2D Metroid that's going to be a follow-up to Fusion called Metroid Dread. And it was supposed to have like this quasi-survival horror, like I don't want to say survival horror, but a spookiness added to it, because Fusion actually had some legitimately terrifying moments in it.
Okay.
Because if you did you ever play Fusion? You're being chased. You're being chased around by like this parasite that takes your form.
Yeah, I did play that game. That game was great.
And then just nothing. Metroid, while people do love the franchise, it is actually a very niche franchise. Metroid does not sell nearly as much as people think it does.
Key component of the Metroidvania genre.
Yeah, it's half of it, you would say.
Yeah, and turns out people didn't play a lot of the 2D Metroids.
And when they came to this point, they did kind of give quick lip service to Metroid Prime 4. They're like, hey, it's still in development, but in the meantime, take a look at this. And
I just love the fact that the trailer starts with Metroid 5.
Yes, which is what it is. If you actually follow the proper chronology, because Fusion was 4, and they're giving us a 2D Metroid, and it's being made by the Mercury Steam guys. Now, these are the people that did the Return of Samus remake recently, which was amazing. I really appreciated that. They're also known for doing Castlevania Lords of Shadow. Say what you will about that game. But I trust Mercury Steam knows how to make a good 2D platformer like this, because they already have experience specifically with the Metroid franchise. And if you didn't play Return to Samus, you're missing out. That was a great remake. And by far, this is the most excited I've been for a Nintendo game in well over 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, because it's the new one. We haven't had a new one in like 2 years.
Like a new Metroid specifically, or just a new Nintendo game?
No, like a new Nintendo game.
It has been a little bit lean on the Switch. Let me rephrase that. This is the most excited I've been for a Nintendo game since I first saw Breath of the Wild. How I feel about that game now, notwithstanding.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because I know you're not a Pokemon guy, so a lot of the stuff that's released on the Switch since then, and you didn't really play Animal Crossing, so
yeah, I bought it like everyone else.
None of those were hitting you.
No, not at all. This gives me a reason to bust out the Switch again. I'm really looking forward to it. David, you get anything more on what they showed next?
Well, they had already showed. Well, wait, no, I'm getting my conferences confused because Nintendo happened before Capcom.
Yes.
Okay. Well, they showed off Monster Hunter Stories 2 on Nintendo. They also showed it at Capcom, and Stories is a bit different of a Monster Hunter game because it's more of like an adventure-y RPG where you're kind of, I don't know, it's almost Monster Hunter Pokemon. Like you have a buddy that's a Rathalos that does stuff with you.
Wait, what? I didn't know that. So it's not a traditional Monster Hunter game. My extent of Monster Hunter, it begins and ends at World.
Yeah. This has nothing to do with World.
Okay.
The stories universe is, loosely based, but it's kind of its own thing. There was like a hero that had a bond with a Rathalos in the first game, and this is taking place after that, where that guy's gone, and that Rathalos is retired, but you're this new guy that no one knows who it is, but you've got a Rathalos egg, and you've got your magic bracelet that lets you talk to the Rathalos, and he becomes your buddy, and you train him, and he gets all fancy, and you go save the world.
I don't like that at all. That's once again. Speaking of someone who has only played Monster Hunter World,
Oh,
who only put time into Monster
imagine
Hunter World, this is
take
a
what you know
problem.
about Monster Hunter,
Okay.
and then mix it with How to Train Your Dragon.
Okay. That actually is a very apt way to explain that to me. I kind of get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Are you excited for this at all?
Stories too? No.
Yeah. No. Okay. I just know you're the Monster Hunter guy. If I got a Monster
I
question,
do
I come
love
to
me
you.
a Monster Hunter game, but those ones aren't really for me.
Okay. Fair enough. Couple of quick hits here. WarioWare Get Together collection of minigames coming September 10th. It's been a long time since we had a WarioWare game, much like a Mario Party game. These are one of those things where I've not actually played a bad one. They're not things I would buy outright, but if someone's like, hey, here's this WarioWare game, I'm going, okay, cool. And I can keep myself entertained for at least a couple hours with it.
Yeah.
SMT5, Shin Megami Tensei 5 was announced. It was already kind of leaked, so anything that I saw here really wasn't new to me because I had to watch that trailer. Really looking forward to that game. Going to be curious if it's going to be just as tough as nails as the other SMT games were. I would imagine it would be.
I think it's going to be easier.
Something that I'm really excited for, Fatal Frame Maiden on Black Water, being ported over from the Wii U where it was trapped, given a generic 2021 release date for that. Now,
Fatal Frame, eventually more of the Wii U stuff getting
bring
getting
everything from the Wii U over the Switch. I'm fine with that because I didn't have a Wii U and no one did. So this is new to me. A little disappointed they didn't have any word on if they're going to bring Fatal Frame Zero over, however. Because while Maiden of the Black Water did make its way, even though it was trapped on a system no one had, Zero never left Japan as far as I can recall. And this is a franchise that is sorely in need of getting some more love again because the Fatal Frame games are some of the scariest goddamn games I've ever played. It just knows how to do horror right. I'm going to let you have the next two, Dave. Before we get into that, I want to address chat here. Stealthy Twitchy in chat says they're disappointed Nintendo chose not to announce the Switch Pro, and Valve's announcement at the E3 PC Gamer Show was an embarrassment. So we're not even going to talk about the Valve stuff because they didn't say anything that was worth a damn.
Mm-hmm.
To the Switch,
not even on our list.
No, it's not. It was such a blip on the radar. I could care less. The Switch Pro announcement, however, that is shocking to me. Because one of the things I was convinced that was going to happen is that they were going to announce the Switch Pro and then finally talk about what the hell is being... There's this weird little like shadow play going on between Nintendo and Microsoft right now where when Microsoft does a presentation outside of E3, you'll see some Nintendo hints and Nintendo's been kind of coy about hinting that shit with Microsoft. Mm-hmm. They're clearly flirting with each other. And I thought this would be the time they actually pull the trigger on whatever the hell they're doing, but they're not doing that yet.
No, they're going to wait because they want you to buy all these games for the regular Switch so that they can release the Switch Pro later and have Switch Pro exclusive versions, so you have to buy them again. Because
maybe
they will never let you upgrade games, and they will always be $60 because it's Nintendo.
I'm sure there's some of that in there, but at this point, it makes me wonder if something went wrong behind the scenes because you don't deliberately tease this stuff and then not follow through with it during the quote unquote biggest time of video game announcements of the year. I'm
going to go with the fact that the Switch Pro is probably not coming this year because it's physically impossible to manufacture anything component related at the moment.
Stealthy Tritchy is saying the same thing attached right now. They're saying not surprising due to the serious supply chain constraints. The ones who would profit the most are the scalpers, sniping the minuscule number of shipped units available.
Yeah.
David, I think you both kind of have it surrounded.
There's no way they can get the number of chips that they would need for a successful launch when they're competing with Microsoft and Sony and Nvidia and AMD and Apple and Samsung and everybody else for all of those chips.
And Tesla and Ford and Boeing and Lockheed Martin.
And we already know of, well, we don't know, but we've heard several rumors about what would be in a potential Switch Pro, and those components are actively being used by other companies. So it's not a really big surprise to me.
This strikes me as one of those things where that's probably they were like ready to go, they had it, and then they got word up last second, hey, we are not ready to actually manufacture
it's like, if we actually do this thing, they're going to ship 30,000 units.
Yeah, that all seems valid to me. Because this is one of the worst kept secrets that are out there. We know something is happening. We just don't know what.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But back to the Nintendo conference, the thing I was most excited for from their show is the Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp.
Truly shocking.
Dude, I did not expect Advance Wars to come back. and I am so flippin'
I
excited because
would
Advance Wars
Good.
is so damn good.
I would sooner have believed an F-Zero game was announced at this than to another Advance Wars. By the way, F-Zero was not mentioned at all.
Oh
Guess
yeah,
who
yeah.
got that right?
Well, it is what it is.
uh, but yeah, Advance
And
Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp. What
yeah,
did you think? Your initial
I'm good.
thoughts?
I'll probably play that game.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to pick it up myself. It's the campaigns for the first two. I didn't realize there were four of these. I thought there was only one on the DS. I didn't realize that there was another on the DS as well. Well, I think I have it somewhere, but I just completely it just like I forgot it. I forgot that that last one existed.
Hmm.
Nebulous holiday release date. What did you think about the art style to it? Because this has a little bit of grumbling going on.
I prefer the clean 2D style of the original games, but I'm willing to look past it, provided that the gameplay is still just as solid.
So
But it,
here's
to
go ahead.
me, I can kind of go either way because we're gonna get this game, and if it's like a reasonable price point, considering that I've played these games before, then I'll be excited. But if they're like, hey, it comes with two video games, it's $70, then I'm never gonna play this game ever.
So I will bitch incessantly about the Final Fantasy art style, and trust me, I'm going to later in this show
Yes,
about
we've
how they
actually done that
take
at length multiple times.
about how they'll take the pictures and when they convert it to phones, it looked like someone smeared Vaseline on it. Like if you
Yes.
look up that picture of Jesus that they had the person touch up, it's a meme. I'm sure you can find it. Some of you might know what I'm talking about. It looks like that. But so I've always been big on if you're going to remake something, just keep it pixel based and
Yeah.
just clean it up. But in the case of Advance Wars, I saw that art star with it, and I immediately went, "I'm fine with this," because
Yeah, I
something.
don't think it looks bad.
Yeah. Additionally, Advance Wars was always just cartoony enough and quote unquote new enough. It didn't really rely on pixel, like specifically bold pixel art,
Hmm.
to stand out. So when I saw these, I went, I think that if they have the technology at the time, they would make them look like this to begin with. Whereas opposed to the more classic like Final Fantasy stuff, that style is so iconic to those games. It's
Yes.
jarring when they change it. But with Advance Wars, I think it fits the theme of those games perfectly, and I am totally fine with the way it looks, which is
Well,
weird.
there you go. You can look out for that sometime in holiday, quote unquote. Um, then we got the Zelda stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which we would expect. There was an expansion pass announced for Hyrule Warriors. Cool, more content for that game. Very exciting.
It's a blast, by the way. I
Did
need to finish up the first one. I haven't played the second one yet, but it really does scratch that Dynasty Warriors itch.
it's real fun. They announced the Zelda Game and Watch, which why?
You know what's funny is that I saw a tweet going around from December where someone like mocked up a Zelda Game and Watch, and he said something along the lines like, "I guarantee you, I could promise you, this will be at this year's E3," kind of like as a joke.
Hmm.
And then when they just showed what that Game and Watch was, it looked almost identical to his mock-up.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
that man's a sorcerer.
Yeah, shout out to the 4 collectors that managed to buy one of those that won it, and good luck everybody else buying one on eBay or
For
whatever.
bloated prices, if you want.
Yeah, because it's Nintendo, so they're probably only going to make it for 2 months or whatever.
Yeah, something stupid, I'm sure.
And then finally we got a tiny smidgen baby amount of Breath of the Wild 2 footage, and a nebulous release date of 2022.
I hope to God they get rid of the rep and degradation. That's my biggest complaint about it because I feel about Breath of the Wild 2 the way I did about Breath of the Wild 1 when I first saw it. When I was like, "Oh my God, this looks amazing. I'm going to be all over it." But as you know for damn sure, because you have this same complaint, and for those who have long-term viewers of the show, about once every 3 to 6 months, I get possessed to try to give that game another shot. And I will play it for 3 hours and immediately just stop. And it's not through any fault of the world design. I do think it's a little empty. I do think that game's overrated. It's not because of the characters. It's not because of the setting. It's not because of the gameplay. It's specifically because of one gameplay mechanic. And that is weapon degradation. A
Yeah,
mechanic
don't
that
like
I
it.
hate so much. It sucks the fun out of that game for me every single time I play it. And I'm hoping Breath of the Wild 2 doesn't have it in there, because god damn do I watch this trailer and I get excited. And I hate that I'm getting excited for
it. Meanwhile, I am 100% convinced it's going to be the exact same video game that we got 2 years ago, but with more verticality, because it's got those little floating islands that we saw.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. They claim it's coming 2022, by the way. I find that date extremely suspect. My gut tells me that is a 2023 game.
They could pull it off.
I don't think they will. I'm still convinced that's 2023.
I don't think they're building that much for it.
No, they're definitely using a lot of assets for sure. Because they already have them in there, so why not do it? I just don't think it's 2022. My everything about this screams 2023 to me, because I am of the mindset. Admittedly,
I think that this game could come out within 18 months.
Admittedly, Nintendo marches to its beat of its own drummer. But if any other game claimed their shit was coming out in 2022, and the only amount of gameplay they showed
was what we
was
got,
like 30 seconds of it, I would immediately call bullshit on that. So I'm doing the same on Nintendo here. David, Nintendo wasn't the only people that had a whole bunch of announcements this week, though. We're going to go ahead and move on to the Xbox Bethesda conference, and I want to
I was going to say shout out to Stealthy Twitchy for the perfect segue.
Yes.
Depending on the price of the Xbox fridge, might be a fun addition underneath the gaming desk. And yeah, Xbox fridge, that's clearly the biggest thing they had to show off this
Hey, I appreciate that. I appreciate a good sense of self-parody.
Dude, I think it's rad. It looks great.
And they know that's that. So let's move on to the Xbox and Bethesda conference. Still weird that is now one company.
Yes, it is strange.
I want to mention out the gate, as far as the show itself goes, this is how every E3 show should be.
This was a very lean, tight, decent Xbox performance, because they've had some very, very bloated shows in the past, and this was not that. It was 90 minutes long, and they showed off a whole bunch of stuff, and there wasn't a ton of downtime, and no one sat there talking about cable television for 20 minutes.
Every single publisher, developer, whoever may be out there that runs these E3 shows or just a direct style presentation in general should take note of what Microsoft did here and copy it. 100%.
Yeah, the problem is not everybody had enough stuff to show to do the Xbox thing.
Yeah. Speaking of problems, I will say that while on the production side I thought the show was amazing, there just wasn't that much that spoke to me. So let's go ahead and start off with the first thing they showed. They debuted a little bit of footage, and I do mean a little bit, of Starfield. That game finally does exist. It is dated for November 11th, 2022. I am reasonably... Yeah, we were thinking maybe as early as...
No, I never said early. You said early. The reason why I'm saying bummer is I made a prediction for a game to be released on 11/11, and it was not Starfield.
Oh, what was it?
I predicted that Halo would come out 11/11.
Fair enough. Starfield, November 11th, 2020. I thought it was within the realm of possibility that this could be early next year, or even if they somehow pushed it late next year, I wouldn't surprise me based on...
I don't think this is even coming out on the date that they listed.
I do think
it's a 2023 game.
No, I do think this is going to come out with the date they listed on it, solely because of things that Todd Howard's been saying out of this conference, where he's like, we are 100% confident in this date. I think this game actually might be within the final stages of being finished, and I hope that they're smart enough to take a year just to polish it.
Just to fix bugs, so that it's not Cyberpunk. It's not the next Bethesda game, because that's their thing.
It can't even be the next Bethesda game. It has to knock out the park. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was almost finished. However, I am also hearing rumors from the leak side of things that say this game isn't anywhere near ready to go. But either way, if it's a year of polish or rushed, I get the feeling that November 11th is going to stick. Regardless of the state of the game.
Well, we'll see. We will see. I don't have that as a prediction, so I'll worry about it later.
What did you think of what you saw? What little of it there was? It was like 30 seconds, and they really didn't show anything besides a bit of interior shots.
I have no opinion on the Starfield footage because I still know fuck all about that game.
Yeah, I mean, that's
I know the same amount about Starfield that I knew before I saw it. That it is a sci-fi-based Bethesda RPG.
That is the exact same spouse I'm in right now. Now, Todd Howard gave an interview with Washington Post, I believe, whatever one that Bezos owns. And he said that this is Skyrim in space. And I'm like, okay, cool.
That's what everybody assumed it was.
Show it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more about the game. Let me see it rather than a bunch of shots of empty starships everywhere. Which, hey, I love the rough tech look. I like the bulky NASA look. It's not quite Alien, like the movie Alien, where it's clearly 70s tech stuffed in there. But it is very much a form over style, a function over style look to it all. And I really like that dirty explorer feel. That's giving off the right vibes to me. And that's it. That's all I gleaned from this trailer. That and a release date. And I want to mention that they dated this game because it's going to come up in a discussion we're going to have later. Also, a couple things were confirmed, however. This is exclusive to Xbox.
Yes.
And PC.
Yes.
And will be day one with Games Pass. This is something that you will hear a lot throughout the
that
Microsoft
prediction
conference.
I 100% got.
Yeah, you even underestimated how often they were going to mention it. Because I think of
did.
the 30 games they said, 27 of them have them on there.
Of the 30 have Game Pass.
For sure.
And the 3 that aren't are the ones that aren't from them. They're the third-party games that they showed.
Yeah. So Game Pass is going to be a very interesting thing to Sony to overcome over the next year or so. It's going to be really interesting to see the momentum shift. Because it's going to. And the Game Pass thing is going to start catching up with Sony hard. They have to have some kind of counter to that.
Yes.
Other things that they showed at the Xbox Bethesda conference, by the way, Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl. How does it drive with you?
It looks good. Looks bleak.
Yeah, very gloom. Coming out April 28th, 2022. This is a game that has been in various stages done for a while. Glad to see more of it coming along.
I mean, Stalker came out forever ago, right?
Yeah, it did. Looks better than I thought it was going to.
It does.
I don't mean that to be a dig, but if you ever played the original Stalker, that game was ugly even at the time it launched. Mm-hmm. So good to see that.
David, after that, we had Back for Blood. We had Back for Blood, which
you got words on that. It sounds like. Lead us away.
Oh, Back for Blood it's the next Left 4 Dead.
Yeah,
all but name. And it's coming October 12th, and it's on Game Pass. And this is a win.
Yeah, Microsoft. this is going to do wonders for that platform, much like how Outriders. What was the not Outriders? Square Enix game. We played it for a hot second. No, it was Outriders. Outlanders?
Yeah.
Or is it Outlanders?
Outriders would be it.
Outriders. Okay.
Yeah.
Can't remember why I couldn't forget that name. Why I couldn't remember that name.
Anyway, Back for Blood. Left 4 Dead, except for not Left 4 Dead, but made by a lot of the people that made Left 4 Dead, and it still looks good.
Yeah. Game Pass is going to force people to go to Xbox and PC for this, just like it did for that game. That's why I was trying to get to. Really, really looking forward to playing this because I like Left 4 Dead games. And that date, I don't have it yet, but I will have Game Pass within the next month or so, more than likely.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
12 minutes.
Also, somebody sat down and did the math of how much it would cost to buy like 4 first-party PS4 or PS5 games in a year, as opposed to how much it costs for a year of Game Pass, and you're going to spend a lot of money on PlayStation games compared.
Absolutely. Oh, one cool thing I heard, I need to confirm this, but I heard that when it comes to Back for Blood, if one person has the DLC to whatever they happen to ship, everyone can play that map.
That's amazing and is the greatest thing that I've ever heard of in the history of multiplayer video games.
I need to double check that, but as long as one person in your party has it, everyone has access to it as long as that person's playing.
Yeah, that's good.
12 minutes. I put this one in here solely for me. It's Annapurna's little 12-minute time loop game. Stars Daisy Ridley, James McAvoy, and Willem Dafoe. I love me little narrative games like this. I love me time loop shit, and this speaks right to me. That has been finally dated for August 19th. Psychonauts 2, actually coming out, it seems. August 25th.
Dude, shout out to Psychonauts 2. It only took 16 years. And we're finally getting it.
I don't need to go into more details about that.
Psychonauts was great.
I'm sure it was. I didn't play it.
I thought that game was a ton of fun. I don't know if I was like just the right age for it at the time, but I think that is a legitimately good video game. It was really funny. It had a lot of heart. And so I've wanted a Psychonauts 2 for, I don't know, as long as I can remember almost. And it's finally coming out, so I really desperately hope that that game doesn't suck.
I hope it's good for you. I really do. It just there are a
I
couple
mean,
things.
you don't care. You're not a Double Fine guy.
No,
We've discussed that at length, and you didn't play the first one, so you have no nostalgia for
no.
them.
I hope
So this has a very, very big hurdle to get over to make you love it.
yes. I hope this is great for people who love it. But this falls into the category of something else that we're going to talk about later in the show, where it just feels like the time for this game would have been 10 years ago.
Yes. Much like another video game that's gonna come up on our list a little later.
Yes. Somerville. Oh my God, does Somerville look fucking hot? This
Yeah,
is
Jump
from
Ship.
this is from Jump Ship. It's a team that was started by one of the guys that helped make Limbo and Inside. Strong War of the Worlds vibes. I believe it was announced in 2017, but damned if I remember it. But when I saw this right now, I went, "What is this? A new Playdead game?" And then oh man, does this look really good? Because I like the whole family trying to survive what looks to be an alien invasion thing. It
looks cool.
It's really striking. That brings us to one of the big ones, David. Halo.
Yes, sir. Halo Infinite.
Now, I know what I want to say about this, but what do you have to say?
Halo Infinite has free multiplayer.
True.
Free to play multiplayer.
Correct. You're paying for the campaign, and you're going to pay for whatever their equivalent of a battle pass is going to be. I guarantee you they're going to do a Fortnite equivalent where it's like every couple months you have like the experience bar to unlock new nifty shit.
I'm going to pay no money, and I'm going to play Halo Infinite's multiplayer. And that's enough for me. Even if the campaign sucks, I don't care.
Because you're not going to touch it.
I'm there.
Fair enough. Were you ever a Halo guy? Were you a big like Halo player?
Never owned an Xbox. Never owned a 360. Never cared about the franchise except to play multiplayer with friends.
Okay.
Like the campaign in Halo means nothing to me. I have no nostalgia. It's Psychonauts to you. I didn't play it. It wasn't
Fair
for
enough.
me. I don't even know what's going on. I think the guy doesn't take his helmet on. He's like the bandit from Smokey and the Bandit, right?
I love the Halo games, but I do not trust 343 Studios after what they did to Master Chief Collection. Which is just laughable that Microsoft's flagship franchise got treated in that way. So I have no faith in 343 to deliver an excellent Halo game. They need to prove it to me. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible for them to do it. But what I am saying is they are already starting off on the wrong foot with me. Also, this says coming holiday 2021. David, they put an exact date on fucking Starfield.
Yes.
But not on Halo. This game is not 2021. This game is 2022 minimum, and probably March-ish 2022 if I had to venture a guess.
It's a bummer. I was really hoping I'd get my 11-11 pick.
Yeah,
I knew it was bold. I didn't think it was ready. I didn't honestly think it was ready, but I still wanted it to happen. That being said, I will still be excited for Halo because the only other shooter that I was excited for from this whole weekend is the new Battlefield. And mostly because that trailer, music notwithstanding, was really, really good.
Battlefield 6 looks hot. I'm going to play that for sure, even if there's no campaign to it, because while I tend not to do multiplayer shooters, there are two of them that I do play. One of them is Destiny 2, and the other one has always been Battlefield. Because
Dude, that trailer had a loop zook in
it. It had the what?
The loop zook.
Oh, is that the jump out of the jet?
Jump out of the jet, shoot somebody with a rocket, get back in the jet.
It's a very cool callback to that viral video that happened a few years ago.
That's an old only in Battlefield moment from BF3.
Battlefield has some amazing moments like that, though, which is why I've always enjoyed playing that multiplayer.
And that's why I liked the trailer so much, because it did so many things that were like an homage to the player base, like the dude hitting a helicopter with an ATV. Like I've seen.
Feels like they
happen.
get it. Feels like they get it.
Yeah.
Plague Tale Requiem sequel's coming up. Cool. Love Plague Tale if you haven't played it. Forza Horizon 5.
Super good soundtrack.
To Plague Tale? Yeah.
Yes.
Really good. Do you have anything you want to mention about Forza Horizon 5?
Hell yeah.
All right.
This is the best thing that happened this weekend for me. Because it's not the next Forza Motorsport. And at this point in my life, I don't care about the mainline Forza Motorsports games. Horizon is the better franchise. And it's probably the most fun racing franchise that's currently available.
Yeah, I believe you made that claim before.
Yeah, Horizon 5, I'm super excited for. It's set in Mexico. The environments look really vibrant, especially compared to 4. 4 is set in like a UK, so, you know, it gets snow sometimes, and it's I don't know. It's green and brown for the most part, but this has like jungles in it, and there's lots of dirt roads, and there's a whole bunch of little like teasers in there that are nods to the community of like, hey, guess what? We've got 96 player like lobbies and all this other crap. And dude, I'm just gonna play it. It comes out November 9th. It'll probably be on Game Pass.
No,
I'm excited.
if we look at that trailer again, I'm willing to bet it does say coming day one on Game Pass. But you know what? I just don't have that written down. I'm pretty sure it does though. A couple of things, other games that they showed off. One, Replaced. If you didn't see what this fucking is, it is from the description from the game itself. A cinematic, retro-futuristic action thriller set in a dystopian alternate version of 80s USA, where you are
That is a series of words that made you excited.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You are Reach, an AI trapped in a mortal human body against its will. Explore that, and the rest who cares about. This game looks like The Last Night, a game that they showed off 3 or 4 years ago and just never came out. Still in development, but still not out. My God, does this game look gorgeous from the pixel art standpoint. You guys need to go take a look at it. Imagine Blade Runner as a 16-bit game, but moves completely fluidly. I am so excited for Replaced.
Yep. And then we saw a teaser trailer for the actually good, already existing sequel to Skyrim in Space.
Yes, Outer Worlds 2 did get a trailer that mocks other trailers very cleverly.
That was actually really funny.
Did you finish Outer Worlds?
Yes.
Okay. It just bounced off of me, and I have
Really?
no reason for it. I did not care for the Outer Worlds.
I loved that game.
I don't get why I don't like it either. I don't have a good answer for you.
Yeah, I don't understand how you dislike that game.
I need to go through and try it again. It could have just been how I was feeling at the moment,
or just completely change your build. Do something totally different.
Yeah, but when I played it, I was bored with it. I think it's because I was doing that thing that I do in games like that where I go through every single nook and cranny.
Oh. Dude, I didn't even interact with anybody in the first town.
I think I need to take a more casual approach to the Outer Worlds to truly enjoy it.
Yeah.
Then finally, they ended up with the most confusing thing I have seen any major conference end on. Redfall.
Please stop showing fully cinematic trailers at the end of your conference when it doesn't give us any indication about how your video game actually plays.
This is what Arcane is working on after Deathloop. I believe this is Arcane, whatever the tech studio, or Leon. Well, Deathloop is Arcane Austin, I think. But either way, this is Arcane Games' next game after Deathloop. It is a co-op shooter versus vampires. And it took me a long... It's coming next year, by the way. PC and Xbox only. I'm shocked...
It has a very distinct art style, right? It looks cool. I hope the game looks like that, but we have no way to know. We don't know if it's first person. We don't know if it's third person. We don't know. This could be a tactical RPG as far as we know.
Well, we know it's a co-op shooter. They have come out and said that. So it makes me think of things like Left 4 Dead or more likely Evolve when I took a look at this. I am shocked that they ended on this because you just merged Microsoft and Bethesda together. How many franchises do they have that they're actively making games for that they could have ended on and they chose this to end on? Like, where the fuck is Fable? We know they're making another one. They showed the trailer for it. How did they not at least end after this with like a 30 seconds of like, hey, here's Fable?
Yeah. Or they could have, ended with Starfield or ended with Halo or ended with Forza or ended with anything bigger.
Redfall's just a weird way to end it, and it took me...
Like, if this was a more in-depth trailer, right? If we got, like, a serious idea of this is what is happening, this is Redfall, and by the way, this game releases in 3 months.
Or something.
Then I would have been fine with it.
Even if they kept the summer 2020 day, I would have been fine with it. There is something about this about this entire game that bothered me, though, and I had to actually think about it for about 3 or 4 hours because I kept like trying to compose my thoughts about it. I was like, what the fuck is it about Redfall that just grates at my nerves? And then it finally came to me.
Oh no!
It's the Joss Whedon shit. Take a group of disinterested teenagers who are 100% snark about everything and have them save the world in the most devil-may-care way possible. And I am so fucking over that trope that it is anti-hype to me.
All right, that's fair.
Am I out on a pier by myself on that? Do you happen to think the same way on that too? Or because I am just so
No,
tired of.
that doesn't make any difference to me.
Okay.
If it's a fun co-op shooter that you can play with friends, then I'll probably like it. I just wish I knew more about it.
Yeah, I mean, and to be fair, I'm only going off this
I'm
trailer
like,
that I
this game
saw.
looks cool to me, and I was like, oh man, this looks rad. Okay, give me more information. Give me more information, and then I never got that more information, so I'm kind of like in the middle on it right now.
This shit looked like a CW show to me,
Oh, okay,
and that
cool.
just
I like CW shows.
well, I got nothing for that. I want to kind of tear into you, but I can't really fault you for liking what you like, you know?
Yeah, dude, I watched The Flash. That show's great.
Those are the two big ones. We have like a hodgepodge of all the other stuff that I want to mention real quick. And
Yeah,
David, you're the guy that probably loves both these things more than I will. So let's go ahead and start off with Elden Ring that was shown off at the Summer Games Fest.
I am not fully prepared to talk about my feelings on Elden Ring because I feel like I'm gonna make the internet mad at me.
Well, don't worry about that. They send the comments to me, not you. I'll forward them to you and specifically highlight the worst ones.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
No problem.
So we did finally get a trailer to Elden Ring.
Okay.
It's announced for January 21st, 2022. It is an open world Souls game. And I have very mixed feelings about that. Because one of the main reasons why I like the Souls franchise is the pacing and the kind of labyrinthian nature of the world. Dark Souls 1 is still my favorite because of the way everything kind of goes together. 2 and 3, I mean, 2 was kind of a jumbled mess. 3 a little bit less so, but I liked the pacing. I liked the way you accessed everything. I liked the way that you had to go through certain environments to get access to the other environments, so it kind of pushed you through the story that wasn't a story. Like, you experienced the game a certain way. So other people can do it a little differently, but for the most part, it's one thing. When you take that concept and make it open world, I'm really worried that this game could drag on or have too much shit to do. And as we've discussed at length on this show, I have not finished an open world video game since the last Saints Row.
David, you just
play
touched
them.
on my biggest concern about Elden Ring so far is this open world nature to it. Now, this trailer, something about it, I think really kind of assuaged my fears on it. Because when I saw this, I didn't see so much an open world as much as I did some of the bigger environments at Sekiro.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great, obviously, and the art style is super cool. It's just I keep hearing the open world thing, and that's the thing that makes me worried. So I'm excited for it, but I'm trying desperately to not be too excited for it because I don't know.
I don't think it's going to be as open world as people are saying it is.
Yeah, I just if I get there and it feels like a Ubisoft game or something, I'm out.
Just tap right out, you're done.
Yeah, I'm just done because I'll never beat that game. Like
that,
if I buy that video game and I get there and it's got a huge like world map, I'm just gonna return it.
Okay, fair enough. That aside, this really does feel like a Dark Souls game, down to like some of the character and art design and everything. Like Bloodborne had a very distinct style.
Aesthetically, I flippin' love this game. I think it looks great.
Right, Bloodborne had a very unique art style to it for what that game was. Sekiro had a very unique art style for that game was. This looks like it could. If you were to tell me this was Dark Souls 4 and take out like the horse, I'd believe you. This really didn't do anything to set it apart from the Dark Souls art style, for better and worse.
Mm-hmm.
I myself am fine with it, but I can get why that might be a complaint. Do you have anything else you want to add about Elden Ring?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. Also announced at Summer Game Fest, Death Stranding Director's Cut, which is a
super great trailer, by the way.
Yeah, but Hideo Kojima had 100% complete control of that fucking game. How can you have a director's cut when you're the goddamn director signing off on everything?
Yeah, I have no idea what the director's cut could possibly be. I don't even know what they're changing. Is it story related? Is it gameplay related? Is it DLC? Is it I don't know what this is. But the trailer made me laugh because he got in the box.
Yes.
And that was enough for me.
It very clearly apes Metal Gear.
Yes.
But let me ask you this, David.
Yes.
Was that only music that sounded like it was Metal Gear, or was that actually Metal Gear music?
I think it sounded like Metal Gear.
Because the internet seems to think that was actually Metal Gear music. And there are a couple of pundits who are saying that was Metal Gear music.
I mean, he could have just called Harry Gregson Williams up and said, hey, can you make a little score? because I don't know if you know this, but if you watch the movie The Rock
Yeah, it
and then
sounds
listen
just
to
like
its
it.
soundtrack next to Metal Gear, it sounds like the same
That guy
soundtrack.
definitely has a style.
No,
I
no offense to that guy, because I fucking love that soundtrack, and I think he makes some killer music. But
I
he's got a vibe for sure.
I do not believe what I'm about to say.
Okay.
I do not
Well,
believe this is true in the slightest. But there have been a bunch of the conspiracy theory train has left the station on this because Hideo Kojima is a notorious troll.
yes.
And he does shit like this, so it's within the realm of possibility that this is true. If in fact that is Metal Gear music that is playing in the background, and I have yet to been able to find someone who give me a definitive answer, yes or no, on it, other than just a while like, oh, of course it is, or no, it's not.
Mhm.
I want to see, like, if it is, I want to see the fucking track, and I want to compare it side by side.
Yes.
Let us entertain the idea that this is Metal Gear Solid music that we're hearing, though. For them to be able to play that, that means that something had to have given him the okay from Konami.
Yes.
Additionally, that means Sony would have to be involved because I believe they actually own the IP to Death Stranding.
Sounds right.
This feeds into all the rumors, because these rumors have been going on for months now,
That they're in
that
cahoots.
Sony is being the mediator to do talks between Kojima and Konami. Two people that hate each other, but Sony's in the middle going, hey, bitches, you want to make some motherfucking money?
You want to make some motherfucking money?
And
Uh,
now there is rampant talk of Kojima working on another Metal Gear or a Metal Gear remake or Silent Hills or any of this other shit solely because of this one trailer. Now, let me say what I said at the beginning of this. I do not believe this is the case.
yeah.
However, I will also say this kind of shit is within the realm of possibility because this is shit Kojima does and has done for a decade plus.
Also, right now he's back with that Sony money.
We'll see if anything
knows?
comes from that.
All right, enough of Game Fest. We got a lot of shit to talk about still, and we're getting low on time. So let's
Shoot.
let's talk about Ubisoft.
They announced Mario vs. Rabbids Spark of Hope. Cool. I like me some Mario Rabbids. And they also finally showed off Avatar Frontiers of Pandora.
A game I could not care less about. That game is 15 years too old.
This is what we were talking about when we alluded to it earlier. I'm glad you picked up on that because I didn't mention it. But yeah, this game feels like it would be like if someone made a video game based on Lost.
Yeah.
Its time has come and gone.
That James Cameron is supposedly working on like 4 sequels to Avatar that are all going to release within a year of each other or something because he's just cranking them out. But I don't care.
I think
It's like if the new movie came out and then we saw this, maybe that would be interesting.
and
Or,
from what I
like I
understand,
said-
they're timed to kind of release alongside each other. But still, this is a franchise that does not deserve the hate that it gets, but does not deserve the praise that it gets from its fans either. Because I think you were the one that first asked me this question years ago. Name me any character from that movie that's not Jake Sully.
Yep. That is 100% a question I asked you because that is my go-to for, oh yeah, you remember Avatar? Cool. Tell me the name of a character that's not the main one.
And no one can do it. I think this movie is hated on unnecessarily, but it is definitely way more praised than it should be either. It is a
Yeah, it's not a bad film by any stretch of imagination, but it's not the best movie that's ever been made.
right. It does
And I
not deserve.
really wish people would stop pretending that it was.
Yeah, it does not deserve 4 sequels on the movie, the franchise alone, and a game that has been in development for what feels like 7 years at this point.
Yeah.
Massive.
But who knows? Maybe the video game won't suck.
I will. Michelle Rodriguez pilot. Yeah, Michelle Rodriguez as herself. That's a good one, Soulglow. I will say this though: the Snowdrop engine improvements they showed for Avatar, if that actually was in game, just shows how talented Massive is at making their own shit. Because I think Massive made the Snowdrop engine. I'm really looking forward to see
Visually, the game looked great.
what that game can do.
I don't have any attachment to that universe at the moment, so they're really gonna have to work to swing me over there.
We have two small games I want to shout out real quick. One, Devolver Digital show Trek to Yomi. It looked amazing.
Dude, Trek to Yomi looks so damn good. It's a like black and white side-scrolling samurai game.
Mm-hmm.
It's enough for me.
Wish I had more time to get into it, but we are pressed for time, as you said. Now I want to go into Square in a little bit more detail. Also, Limited Run Games announced River City Girls 2.
Excited. If you did not play River City Girls, it is one of the best beat 'em ups that's been released basically this generation.
Agree. That's what I hear. All right.
Yeah.
Let's
Square
do this. I gotta gear up for it. All right. First off, Square did the exact opposite that a good conference does, where they take way too long or some shit and don't go into deep delves enough on other stuff. Something that they went way too long on was they finally shut off what this Guardian of the Galaxy game looks like.
Yes.
And I hate saying that because I actually kind of want to play this. The game looks serviceable to me. It feels like a Guardian of the Galaxy game. I'm glad that they learned from the Avengers and don't make your characters in it.
I'm so happy that none of these characters look like the MCU.
Yeah, they look like their own things, which I think helps benefit it. And I'm glad they didn't really show anything about this game until now and gave it a release date of October 26th.
Yes, because
this is how games should be announced.
This looked like it had a lot of stuff done. You know, they showed off, making decisions and going on a mission, and they showed off a bunch of this game, and I do think it dragged a little bit.
It was about 20 minutes of this.
But I'm okay with it because it's actually coming out soon.
Yeah, same here. I do want to play this, and I don't want to say that because it does look a little dated to me, but I do want to get a hold of it. Before we go deeper into the Square conference, someone did mention that Devolver Digital mentioned Inscription, and that's stuff in Twitch and chat.
That was the card game.
Yeah, this is from the team. Those are from the guys that made Pony Island and The Hex, both excellent games, and goddamn, am I looking forward to Inscription.
Yeah,
that game looks amazing. All right, I'm counting this next one as a prediction I got correct.
Okay, what was your original prediction?
My original prediction was Square will announce something Final Fantasy VI related, and it's going to suck.
Oh my god, you did say that. That's so funny.
They announced Final Fantasy 1 through 6 pixel remasters without really showing what they're going to look like. But
they
that's
didn't show anything.
No, they just showed like a quick 30-second teaser. But that's aside. Let's not even focus on what this is going to look like. These could look amazing. That's not what I want to look at this point. What I want to look at was I remember watching this trailer and going, okay, I'm into it. And then I laughed my ass off at the end when it said it's only coming to PC and mobile. Yep. The two fan bases that deserve this the least. At the very least, put it on Switch or another console.
Right.
But no, PC and mobile only. And
because
then
mobile already has all of the quote-unquote remasters of the old games. You know, the ones that look like ass.
Yeah.
That then got ported directly to PC.
Down to the fact that the glitches in some of the mobile games follow to PC as well.
Yes, sir.
And then...
And the music is crap quality.
If you go take a look at their webpage, they're not even selling these games in a fucking collection. They're selling them individually.
Yeah, I thought this was a box set. I thought this was a Final Fantasy 1 through 6. Buy a video game, you get all of them, and I was like, you know what? That's a good. That's worth it. I would check that out. But no.
Sold individually, and I can promise you, when they do announce prices for it, it is going to be minimum $15 goddamn a pop. I expect $20
because that's
or even
how much
higher.
They charge for the mobile ports.
Let's say
if you try and buy like Final Fantasy 6 on your iPhone or your Android, it's like $16.
Let's say it is only $15 a pop minimum.
Too much.
Which I'm convinced it's going to be. That means it's $90 fucking dollars to buy 6 games, the last of which released in like 1993 or 1994.
Dude, even if it's $10 each, I'm not going to buy it.
This is fucking ridiculous. And when it comes down to it, did we really expect Square to make a good decision with this? There's a reason why my prediction was they're going to announce something that we want, and it's going to still fucking disappoint.
I'm just waiting for them to give it an official title, like, Final Fantasy Retro Megamix Volume 1 : Final Fantasy, and that's the first one, and then they continue that for the other ones.
I feel I heard this theory posited on Sacred Symbols, which is a podcast that I listen to a lot, and I want to sum this up here. Or at least address it here as well, because I think this actually might be on the money. The reason why this Final Fantasy 1 through 6 collection is only on Steam and PC is because Final Fantasy re-releasing Final Fantasy is the well Square Enix goes to when they need cash.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So if they were to just suddenly release it all on everything, people would just buy it for whatever they wanted, and they would never be able to sell it again until another console comes out. But if they fucking stagger,
they have to target it so they can make a little bit extra money.
So if they stagger it this way, though, someone would be like, I really want it on my Switch, but I guess I'll play it on PC because I have a PC too. And they can wait another year and then go, hey, it's coming out on Switch. Okay, I guess I'll buy it on Switch now. So they now bought the same thing twice.
Yeah, I guess I can see that happening.
Whenever Square Enix needs money, they'll just go, here's another platform it's on. Go buy it on that, monkeys. And fucking we'll do it. Well, I don't know about me.
I was going to say, maybe you'll do it. I don't think anybody...
Not even I will do it if it's that much. Now, if they gave this whole thing for like $20, yeah, okay.
That's what I'm saying. If it was a collection and it was, a reasonable price, then I'd be super down.
But we both know it's not going to be 20. We both know it's not going to be 20, especially when they came out and said sold individually.
The second Super Nintendo, that's fine.
Yeah, the second I saw it was going to be sold individually, I was like, okay, I know what their song and dance is on this. All right, I got 2 more things I want to mention real quick.
Okay, let's go.
Babylon's Fall. What do you think?
I think it could potentially be fun. It's platinum. It looks like a co-op game. I don't know that I love the art style, but I don't care because it's a platinum game, so if the gameplay's there, then they probably have me.
Everything about this game annoyed me from the top down. I hate the art style. Co-op is a non-starter for me on any game that's supposed to be a platinum game like Bayonetta or anything like that. That just screams like a bad idea to me. So I was at once intrigued by Babylon's Fall. Now I just don't care if it lives or dies. It is. I hope it's good if you enjoy it, but it is one of those games that I just have absolutely zero interest in.
I was just like, is this one of those non-Monster Hunter games? Like, let's go.
Finally, finally, Stranger of Paradise: Final Fantasy Origins. What was your first impressions on it?
What the hell is this? If you want to be honest.
Okay. Care to elaborate?
I was confused because it doesn't look like a Final Fantasy game to me.
Okay.
Like, the art style looks wrong, the character designs look wrong, the enemy designs look wrong, the menus probably look right, actually. But I just don't know, man.
So
I don't know if this game's for me.
This game did not look like a Final Fantasy game to me either, except for Garland, the knight they kind of fight. The demo of this out, by the way. You know what this game looks like to me? It looks like a fucking Kingdom Hearts game to me, just without the cartooniness added to it.
I can see that. With a different aesthetic.
I went and looked. This is like a realistic version of Kingdom Hearts. I wonder who's fucking involved with it. And then sure enough, Tetsuya Nomura, man behind Kingdom Hearts, is apparently heavily involved in this shit. And that explains it. That explains the melodramatic "I'm looking for chaos" that he says like 20 times throughout the trailer. Now,
but I mean, it's like if he's looking for sailors.
If you've seen any sailors around here. This is from Team Ninja, by the way. This is not being developed in-house at Square. This is being handled by Team Ninja. They have made some great games in the past.
That's true. They definitely have.
We have been hearing rumors about this game being a Final Fantasy Dark Souls. I kind of see
I got 0 Dark Souls from that.
If you watch the demo, I don't see Dark Souls in the gameplay, but the interface sure as hell apes Dark Souls quite a bit. Like, go take a look at the demo, which is out right now, and working, by the way, because they finally put this game out. They're like, hey, get the demo for it now, and then sure enough, the demo just doesn't work. So they fixed that. It's going. But the interface specifically looks like they're using Dark Souls as an inspiration for it. Now, nothing else about that game
to interact with things. I don't really know what you mean by the interface, but I'll get back to you on that. I'll go play the demo even.
Take a look at the HUD specifically and the equipment screen.
Okay.
It just struck me as Dark Souls. I looked at that and went, okay, I kind of see what they're going for here. The gameplay, not so much. The gameplay is a lot faster than any Dark Souls I've seen, but it's not that fast either. But the main reason why people kept calling it the Dark Souls Final Fantasy game is because no one has any imagination, and they keep chasing SOE. Or SEO, I should say.
Oh, that's funny.
So yeah, Stranger in Paradise, a game that looks like it was on the PlayStation 3 coming out soon. That's something I want to mention too. This game looked ugly. And I don't mean ugly in a good way. This game looked bad. It looked old.
Is it on Switch?
And I don't know.
Wait, it's not a Switch game?
I was about to say no, but I don't know for certain.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I
Someday.
expected more from this game. I expected a lot more from this game. And unfortunately, admittedly, I'm judging a book by its cover, but this is what we got. David?
Yes.
We talked through a whole bunch of games. Some of them that we could have easily have given more due diligence to, but we didn't.
That's true.
Some of them look great. Some of them not so great. Either way, I don't get to play any of these for at least months. I can't
At
be
least
fucking...
months.
At least. I can't be expected to absolutely not play anything until then. So, what can I get a hold of now that's coming out now and not then?
Well, there's a very limited amount of new releases this week because most people don't try and release video games during E3 week. So
That's probably smart.
take your pick. You've got Minute of Islands hitting PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. This is a hand-drawn adventure puzzle platformer that aesthetically looks very pleasing if you're into, puzzle platforming adventure games, but I just think a game looks good. Explore strange and wonderful islands and dark labyrinths below in this narrative puzzle platformer. Guide young mechanic Mo on her quest to repair a world on the brink of collapse. The powerful Omni Switch at your disposal may not be enough to fix the damage that hides beneath the surface. Like I said, I think it looks pretty. So take a look. Why not? If that one doesn't work for you, there's Monobot hitting PC. That's another 2D puzzle platformer. But you're playing as a little robot named Mono, who's alone in the dark in a dystopian world overrun with other hostile robots. Guide him through his solo journey, unraveling puzzles to uncover the buried secrets of this desolate world. So the soundtrack sounds good, and it's like a darker Wall-E.
Okay.
Yeah, so... and other than that, I guess if you don't want to play a platformer game, Red Solstice 2 Survivors hits PC. This is a strategy RPG / real-time tactics game. That's how it's tagged, and I don't really know how it's both of those things. But it's a real-time tactical battlefield alone with up to 7 squad members, and you are basically just killing shit. It's a sequel to Red Solstice that people did like, so take a look
Yeah, I know
if
nothing
you
about
needed
it
to
yet,
see what that game.
Yeah. David,
The first one did all right.
Before we wrap things up here, you mentioned something that kind of kickstarted the old noggin here real quick, and that was you don't release games during this time because you don't want to get swallowed by news.
Yes.
There are 2 stories I want to briefly mention that happened that were announced over the past couple days, and it was done because they clearly wanted them buried. One, Cyberpunk might be coming back to the PlayStation Network within the next couple of weeks.
It was listed, and you can pre-order it or something, but you cannot buy it. If you had already purchased it, you can re-download it though.
And 2, this was announced deliberately during, I think, Summer Games Fest, deliberately during one of the major conferences to keep as many people from covering it as possible because it's bad. EA got hacked.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that.
EA got hacked 4 or 5 days ago. I don't know the exact details because we had so much we cover on it, but I wanted to give it a quick mention because EA specifically released the press release saying, hey, we get hacked at a time that no one in the games industry was paying attention to.
Yep, there you go.
But I was. And I'm not going to let that shit stand.
Maybe we'll get a big EA leak and we'll know every video game they're making for the next 5 years like we do with Capcom.
Nothing. That's what they're doing. Madden 2022, Madden 2023, Madden 2024. David?
You forgot about all the other sports.
That does it for new releases and that last bit of news, which means that also does it for the show as well. This has been GamePoints episode 268, and thank you all very much for showing up. We stream every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here at Twitch TV /GamePoints. But if you can't join us live, feel free to watch old shows over at youtube.com/GamePointsPC, and also keep track of when we go live down on the Discord server below, especially if you want to be put in greater parts of the GamePoints community. You can follow the show on Twitter at GamePointsPC, myself at CapitalistPig21, and David there at _Satori. There'll be, of course, regular gaming streams throughout the week, and we will be back next week at this exact same time for more gaming news, if there is any to talk about. The next couple of weeks after E3 tend to be dead, but I'm sure we can struggle our way through something.
We'll wing it.
Once again, thank you for showing up. This has been GamePoints. Stay safe, take care, and we'll be seeing you.